If you're just tuning in, it's about 6:58, and we'll start at 7 o'clock. So I just want to do a quick audio check. If you can comment, if you can hear me. All right, it is 7 o'clock p.m. and this is the monthly forum for the month of August, where we cover a lot of the information from the previous month. We are on a chart, a traded chart towards November the 3rd. I'm helping some others that are trying to dial in. So if you could just bear with me for a second while if you are tuning in, if you could share the forum, that would be helpful for us.
We all get it. I was on the floor, George.
Yep, just trying to get a couple of other individuals on. I'm really excited because we are live from a new platform. Yeah, we are live from a new platform, and it's StreamYard. I do have to plug StreamYard because it was really, really efficient and seamless. I didn't need any help to set up live stream. So if you have tuned in before on the Zoom link, we're no longer using Zoom. We're on StreamYard, and that allows us to connect one on StreamYard, but then two to stream live on Facebook and on YouTube concurrently at the same time. So we have three new platforms. It's StreamYard, it's YouTube, and it's Facebook Live. And I want to give a shout out before we get started to my friend for a very long time, Mars Lilienthal, because the last forum he had mentioned, you should try StreamYard. And it was money on the spot, or Johnny on the spot, or whatever it is you want to call it, because it was really efficient for for us. So we do want to get started. It's we always try to start on time and end on time, and we do have some really exciting news. Yep. So, and what we want to do today is we want to take out some time to cover three main highlights. If you were with us last month, they'll sound familiar, but again, I think that was helpful and was beneficial. I was preaching at Mount Hebron Baptist Church today, and we said that repetition is good for remembering. So more information on the same three topics: one being data centers, two being the results from the special primary that was on August the 11th, and then to focus on the housing crisis. Um, so we've let me let me make sure that, yep, we're here. So this is the chart. Um, this is the chart, what I call the good rates roadmap, and we we started out very deliberate, very deliberate with this chart. My experience in the military has helped me because what we do is I just realized from being out of the army for over 2 years now is that the way that you learn to do things in the military is just a real discipline in the way that you do them. So if you're in the military, something like this looks very familiar to you. And I'll draw your attention to where we're at today, and that's highlighted in red, right bottom, right center near the bottom, the present in your community tour. And what we're doing is we're just being present in the communities in which voters live. So we started out in Aliceville on yesterday, and we had a good turnout. Special thanks again to Pastor Kathy Wilder, Miss McBride, not Mrs. Jean McBride, but Miss Leanna McBride. Thank you to you all, and for the people that came out to attend. We had elected officials there too, so it was a real good turnout, and we registered some voters as well. And we're guided and headed towards November, the November the 3rd. What you'll see beginning in September is you'll really see the pickup with our pre-election campaign marketing marketing products. We I really can't hold a secret, and I really want to share what it is, but we have a smaller group. If you're interested in what that is, just message me offline, and I can give you a good idea of what some of those those marketing what some of those marketing products are. And yeah. So how I got here, I would encourage you, if you're tuning in for the first time, to go to our YouTube channel at JMINOR50. Go back to some of the previous forums, and what you'll get is my why, how I got here, and we try to save time for other topics here. I do think that one of the things that I do want to highlight, if you see the slide, is that there there is a crisis here, not just here where I live at in Pickens County, but really it's a rural Alabama problem, and it's a rural America problem called the hospital crisis. Um, this hospital crisis does not care if you voted Republican. It doesn't care if you voted Democrat. It doesn't care if you voted independent. It doesn't care if you voted no dependent. the rural hospital crisis is real, and it wouldn't allow me to live in the comforts of my really nice place in near DC. I was compelled to come and be with people rather than to just pray for people from DC. And so I didn't realize that when you look at this picture that's before you, what you will see is one of our education board members from Pickens County at the microphone. You will see a picture of her sister below. You will see a picture of Mayor from Carrollton, Mickey Walker, in the picture. You'll see, I think that's Mr. Johnny Lee in the background, who every time I see him talks to me about rural hospital. Every time I talk to him, you will see. I think that's Mr. Herbert Lavender on one side too. And if you look over to the left, well, it's my left. It's probably, yeah, it's your left as well. And so if you look over to the left, you'll see Representative AJ McCampbell. If you look to the 1 o'clock of him, you will see a head cut off of Representative Bolton, and you see the the incumbent for Senate District 21 that's also looking over at Mrs. Jackson as she compels and persuade and plea for um, and plea for help with the rural hospital crisis in Pickens. We also see former Mayor Melody Davis as well. We're grateful for her work that she's done in reform. So the sign says, "Please help." There's a plea for help, and the representatives and the state senator are there in this picture. I just thought that it was. I found this picture, and it's been here for some time. But anyway, so this crisis, we literally have people dying in the streets. Doesn't rally to fund hospital in Pickens County. Now, this isn't just a rural America hospital crisis. This is also a mental health crisis that if you live in Tuscaloosa County, then you know about the mental health crises that we have as well. I do jail ministry, so I see the mental health crises front and center on a daily basis. So what we had asked for was what we were expecting was a substitute for the Affordable Care Act. And what we've gotten was $1 trillion that's going to start coming out of Medicaid and Medicare in October of 2026 as a result of the big, beautiful bill. This is policy. This doesn't care where you're from, how much money you make. If you live in rural, then this crisis impacts you. I'm gonna go because I'm very passionate about that issue. Because again, that's one of the main reasons why I decided to resign from the White House and come home to Pickens. This is we do data analysis. I don't want to spend too much time here, but we're trending up. We've expected to trend up. What I've noticed in our main platform being Facebook, and what we have experienced is that we have a whole lot more watchers than people that follow. So if you see the left quadrant with the Facebook symbol, we 53,000 views for the month of July. And of those viewers, 76% of viewers were non-followers. But again, these numbers are trending up. The places that we have challenges in, that we've had challenges in, has been a lag on the trendy places, Instagram, TikTok. Our website is slower, but again, it's an avenue. All of these are just avenues to get our message, to allow people to connect digitally when I'm not able to be physically in different places. And again, I mentioned these up front, the crises, the highlights that we have, and pardon me for, I don't know, for some reason when the transition happened from PowerPoint to this platform, some of the formatting is a little bit off. So I apologize for that. But these are the three of the the three of the highlights that we wanted to mention, and data centers is one that I've it's been on my radar since inauguration day of 2025. Yeah, inauguration day of 2025, when on inauguration day, Elon was there, Zuckerberg is there, Bezos is there, in the Google CEO, they're all there. And if you look at who the crises is impacting, you don't see any of the individuals, or the ones that work for them, that's screaming and yelling and kicking about these crises. Look at how much money that Elon donated to campaigns in 2024. Almost $300 million. Timothy Mellon, almost 200 million. Marion Ellison, almost 150 million. And then, I mean, Bloomberg, the ones, Mark Andreessen. And the point, though, is I don't care, again, whether you're red, whether you're blue, whether you're green, whether you're white, whether you're brown. Money in politics is the reason for the crises that one of the main reasons for the crises that we do have. And so we go from money in politics, and the one of our candidates for governor says that we're gonna do data centers. Well, yeah, we're gonna do data centers. Look at money that's put into campaigns for governor of Alabama. Go to www.opensecrets.org, and you will see why the perspective of the candidate for governor on the Republican side says we're going to do data centers, because the people that want to do data centers have put millions of dollars into the campaign. And as I'm out, the crises with data centers happen to be in Brookwood, and well, one of them are in Brookwood, and if you can see the picture, and they had a town hall, not I'm sorry, not a town, a planning and zoning meeting, and the residents in the room, typically the people that are upset are the ones that show up, and the ones that aren't upset are the ones that don't show up. So there is a meeting that's coming up, and I would encourage advocates for data centers to also show up, in addition to the individuals that are not advocates for data centers, because all that I've heard out on the campaign trail is individuals saying we do not like the current plan for data centers. Some say we don't want them at all. Some say it's transparency. Like, we can see the filing, and the filing says for a data center. They want transparency. The rollout matters. Residents are concerned about price increases to gas and water. In 2029 will be the first time that Alabama Power will be able to increase rates, to recommend increased rates to the Public Service Commission again. That's electricity. In rural, we already have our share of water crises. Not laughable, but again, to articulate how important the water that we do have is. But then again, these are things that I'm an advocate for: transparency, protecting residents from water and gas increases as a result of data centers, to make sure that when we build data centers, if we're going to build them, that residents benefits with taxes paid from profits from data centers. Because data centers do not include frontline workers, they only include maintenance workers. So you got construction money up front, and then you have maintenance employees. And then it's determining, having an input from citizens on where data centers are going to be located at. We don't want them to negatively impact residents. And I've heard from from a gentleman that's responsible for conservation of Hurricane Creek on how important Hurricane Creek is to the community near and around Brookwood. And I plan on going out to see the grounds myself, to see the flow of the river, to hear the birds home, to to see the water flow, to just be in the environment of Hurricane Creek. And really, my objective isn't political; it's what's right. Running to represent individual voters' priorities first, and not out of town big tech companies' priorities first. Demand for energy, the concerns: demand for energy, demand for waters, environmental hazards, light, noise, and air pollution, the long-term job, no, limited long-term job creation, and then it's decreased property value that if you build them near and around homes as a result of noise, light, and pollution. These are all concerns that I've had concerns about. I've heard from the residents of Brookwood, and I would encourage advocates for data centers to for advocates for data centers to come online. I want to hear from residents who are pro data centers in Brookwood. So yeah, so if Brookwood's first, right? But then who's next? If it's Brookwood now, there's one that, from my understanding, is being built on the Black Warrior River near the University of Alabama campus. The concern is the proliferation of data centers without a vote, without the input from voters writ large. So I would love to hear personally from individual residents from Tuscaloosa County and from Pickens County on data centers, because I'm not a one perspective person. I want the whole picture, and I have not seen a single picture from a resident that says, yeah, let's put let's I'm okay with the plan for data centers and the revenues that is going to bring into the area. I have not. I've only heard elected officials say that. Next topic: special primary election. And again, there were two based on Supreme Court ruling with Louisiana versus Calais. And from that decision by the Supreme Court, we're here. Affected state Senate districts 25 and 26 doesn't impact Pickens and Tuscaloosa, so I don't even talk about those two. But what it did impact was Congressional District 7. And with Congressional District 7, that special primary election, I was out canvassing all day on last Tuesday, and I was disappointed. Disappointed would be the word, because poll workers are going out and working at polls, volunteering their own personal time to ensure that we have safe and secure elections. And for residents, and you see the numbers: 2.16 million registered voters in districts 1, 2, 6, and 7 were eligible to vote. These are registered Republicans that were eligible to vote. Districts 1, 2, 6, and 7. And from 1, 2, 6, and 7, there was 5.24% turnout with 113,000 votes out of 2.16 million registered voters. And for Congressional District 7, what that looks like locally, and again, this Congressional District 7 will be the Republican candidate, Dr. Amy Akin will run against Congresswoman Terry Sewell. She won the race with 9,000 votes, 12,000 total votes for a congressional seat that represents at least normally average about 700,000 or more people. 12,000 voted from the district. So the poll workers that I was able to talk to, I thank them for their service in ensuring that we're able to perform our civic duty, and that's the right to vote. They the ones not inside polling locations, because you can't campaign inside polling locations. You can't canvass inside of 30 feet. But some were concerned about what I was doing outside, because they said we've never seen anybody at the Hagler Center, which is the southeastern part of Tuscaloosa County, and that came out and said, "Hey, who are you and what are you doing?" "Hey, I'm Jodie Minor, candidate for Senate District 21." The responses that I've gotten back was just, we have to go through the same motions as if it was the presidential race. The same thing. And the cost for the special elections in Alabama, you see the cost, $4.45 million. $4.45 million to execute a special primary election for 113,000 out of 2.16 million registered voters to show up. And so again, congratulations to Amy McKinn, but I don't consider these victories when we have 3.1 million registered voters, 2.1 million that were registered Republicans, and only 113,000 vote. I don't consider that a win. I haven't seen any voter intimidation. I have not seen any discouraging of people from going to the ballots. The only thing I see is the propensity to vote, and it's descending. If you want to know about Amy McKinn, this is how it reads, and she now has a web page. If she had a web page before last month when I was online, I apologize. I didn't see it. I Googled. I'm a pretty good researcher. But, says she's an entrepreneur, multi-level educator, a longtime advocate for adults, teens, and children with disabilities. And she now owns essentially what's like that's a hub for nonprofits to be able to set up their operations from the building that Amy McKinn and her husband co-own. For nonprofits, they're able to go in and they're able to have space to work, and you don't have to rent the whole building. It's kind of like rental space. Airbnb, a cubicle, is what I call it. But I haven't seen it. But anyway, that's who she is. And so when I talked about the propensity to vote, I always go back here. 2024 presidential election, 3.8 million registered voters in Alabama, 2.26 million voted, and 1.5 to 1.7 million decided not to vote at all. Registered voters, but did not decide to vote at all. Right? So President Trump received 1.46 million votes, and there were more people that were registered but did not vote at all in Alabama than the amount of votes that President Trump got in the state of Alabama. 41.5% of registered voters said, no. You have to understand the magnitude of how significant that this is. This is like somebody living in New York City that has a driver's license, but decide that I don't want to take the car. I'm just going to take the train. So then if you take away the driver's license for somebody that rides the train in New York, if you say, I'm taking your driver's license, they're going to say, so what? I take the train anyway. So when some groups and organizations talk about voting rights being taken away, then so what to people that don't vote anyway? This is why again, this is why I'm here, because you have to listen first, because listening determines what people's priorities are. And if they're already not voting, then taking away, if that's the perceived reality that people are taking away your voting right, then people don't care because they're not voting anyway. So if you read Secretary of State Senator Allen's son's statement, who is still currently the Secretary of State, 2.26 million Alabamians casted their votes on Tuesday, which was election day for the president, not counting provisional ballots. This was 65,000 fewer than were casted in 2020. In 2020, there were 2.3 million. And 65,000 fewer voters voted in 2024. Actually, more people that didn't. This is the silent majority. That more people just decided not to vote at all. 1.5 to 1.7 million. So, what this looks like locally in the lack of a propensity to vote is this. This is Pickens County. And I apologize for the formatting. This is the Pickens County polling locations, and this is 13,000 registered voters and 5,000 voting. Again, if you look at the percentage, I guess you have to define your own success, because it's well above the average for states. I'm sorry, for counties. 47.5% that voted in Pickens County. 8,000 that did not vote, registered but did not vote, not ones that were inactive or not registered. 8,000 that did not vote. And then for Tuscaloosa County, then there are 71,000 registered voters and 57,000 that did not vote. Registered voters but did not vote. 19% of the turnout. And that's about 13,000 voters out of 71,000. Those numbers, I pause because those numbers are staggering. This is the primary election from May. 71,000 registered, 19% voted, with 57,000 that did not vote at all. And so then I guess the question is, so what, Jodie? We know already, some people, some don't. What are you doing, or what are you gonna do? And again, I always tell people I would much rather be here compelling people to vote rather than to be on a ballot, because that's part of what my purpose is to compel and persuade people for salvation and their sacred duty and their right to vote. That's why I'm back in the South, to compel people for salvation first, and then to perform their sacred duty, which is the right to vote. On the salvation side, organization and strategy comes first. Then reconciliation comes next. Then salvation. And then the sacred duty and the right to vote. And I do understand separation of church and state. We don't want our state to become part of the church, but we do want people of moral and ethical values to represent us at the state. So what am I doing? What are we doing? We're, again, this is Pickens County. There again, these numbers, that's why they're an estimate. About 12,000 active voters now, and about 2,000 inactive voters. So when we're out as part of this present in your community tour, what we're doing is we're making sure and ensuring that people are registered to vote. We're making sure that people are registered to vote. But at the first table at every event that I'm a part of, the voter registration table comes first. That's just that. I don't know of any other way to get folks registered to vote. But then at the same time, it's compelling and persuading people to vote, and that, again, that comes back to listening. If we feel that there aren't any good people of good moral and ethical character on the ballot, then find somebody to run. If we feel like whatever the main issues are that aren't being addressed, find somebody that best supports those interests and run, and have that individual run. Or at a basic level, you have to figure out what your main issues are. One, two, three, four, five, six, and you just go up the line. I've always been told that if you're not at the table, then you're on the menu. If you're not at the ballot box, then you're on the menu. So we're going out, we're getting people registered to vote, in addition to articulating the 2T campaign, the Trust and Truth campaign, and we're listening to folks. I got an example of that later. I'm going to press because I'm behind time. We normally like to go 30 minutes. So are you active? The next crises, that the next focus that we do have is on the affordable housing. And we've talked this before, but I wanted to make sure that I hit some main highlights. Is to live comfortably in the state of Alabama, you need to make $85,000, and that's if you're single, to live comfortably. If you have a household of 4 people, you need to make $195,000 in order to live comfortably in the state of Alabama. So what I always say is that what we need to have, it's okay. I understand if we're gonna build, we need to build affordable housing, build affordable housing, build affordable housing. Affordable housing on one end, but then it ultimately comes to education and opportunity on the front end. That we need good livable wage jobs first, and then we need housing that's affordable. So this is the housing crisis is something that I was in a meeting with some emergency response personnel, and this is all volunteer organizations that come together if there's a disaster or a crisis. And one of the officials that works for, anyway, I talked to an individual that was there, said that there has not been a single move out of public housing in Tuscaloosa County all year. Very reputable source. Not one individual that moved out of public housing in Tuscaloosa all year. And the waiting list is around 2,000. This is how much the crisis is impacting individuals that need housing. So again, I wanted to touch here because then what do we do, and how do we see solutions to a problem? Because I never like to present a problem without solutions. One, this is in coordination with our career and tech centers, to make sure that we're training our next generation of citizens to livable wage jobs and where the demand is. That's one. Two, again, it's compelling and persuading and offering incentives for builders to build affordable homes. I encourage feedback. How is it that we address the crises? Those are the ones that I personally am an advocate for. And again, I'm not know all be all. I'm a sponge of information, and I'm a synthesizer, and it's determining the best path based on analysis. So there was one slide, and I want to go back, and I apologize because it's sitting in the wrong place. And this slide really is a summation of how we arrive at our crises. I talked before about the tech giants and their influence on politicians before, how much money was put into politics. Again, I don't consider it a red or a blue issue, even though most of the donations were going to what we call red or conservative interests. If Democrats were in power, those same tech giants would be giving money to Democrats. They're paying off whoever's in charge for the most part. There are some that have ideological designs and ideals, but really it comes back to who's in power, because who's in power determines policy. And that's at any level of government, that any level of municipality or state or federal government. So what we have on one end is, I always say, you see the upside down triangle: big business on one side, lobbyists on one side, most politicians on the other side, and they're co-partnering together to influence and pass legislation. So you get no federal taxes, no state taxes, the ability to build on state land with incentives and tax abatements. You get the ability to drive in merchandise to rural and to cities and towns, and then the money that's being earned from business owners isn't being adequately redistributed back to the areas in which the money comes from. Anytime you see a truck with internet sales merchandise coming into your community, there's money going out. So what the North Atlantic Free Trade Agreement didn't do, then look out if we continue to track with the same tax incentives for billionaires. So if you see where we're at, and you see who's at the top, and that we are here category keeps getting greater and greater and greater, the longer the gas crisis, the affordable gas continues, then that number, that volume in that bottom of the upside down triangle, it continues to increase. The more that rent is more than what we're bringing in and can afford, the bigger that class gets. And you're squeezing the middle and lower class. Essentially, is what you're doing. If we continue the same track with money and politics, I always like to go here because this is the why. And you never see the people on the left top business. You have not seen them complain once. But you did see record profits for Chevron, from Exxon, from gas companies. If you hadn't Googled it, quarterly profits for gas companies, record high, and see what you come up with. You're gonna see that report was just released for gas companies. So who does war benefit? I have to go. So let's continue, because I'm respectful of our time. If you have questions, go ahead and start preparing for questions, because we're almost there. The monthly engagements and events for the month of July, multiple engagements at the community level: Lakeview, Tuscaloosa Fire Department meeting, community event Tuscaloosa, civic education session Tuscaloosa, organized event Aliceville. These are the places, in addition to places that we go to that aren't. The events and engagements are places that we go to that I have a targeted speaking role in. And all of the other behind the scenes, present in your community type events and going to locations, none of those things are on this list of engagements. We have promo items. We have items for sale. I always tell people, if you go to our website, www.electjodieminor.com, you'll see items for sale. And if you can't afford any of those items, then you can message us and we'll make sure that you get any of these items. Promo items on one side, items that we have for sale on the other side. We do have a very an item that I really, really like. It helps you. It's a hot item, and no pun intended. This new version of our fan is it's a cute picture of whoever that guy is. It's one of our really, really hot items that people are using a lot with the temperatures being plus 100. We have pins that aren't listed. We have red and gray shirts. We always run out of sale and giveaway shirts. We just always do. And so we have another order that's on hand for those that have pre-ordered. Thank you so much for that. We plan to anticipate that those shirts will be in at the end of this month. And then the thank you. I always like to thank what I call members of the ground crew. I'm a member of the ground crew. Wherever we go together. Wherever it is that we go together. And somebody had repaired one of our campaign signs out in the Dancy, Cochrane area, and I didn't know who had, because again, this is how thankful I am for the help that we do get. The person that did it didn't say, "Hey, Jody, I fixed your sign." It was just done. I got a call from one individual that's a sign watcher that said, "Hey, Jody, we saw your sign, and your sign needs some TLC." And a couple of weeks later, well, it was about a week and a half later, by the time I got out there, it was already fixed. And then when I posted, "Hey, thank you for who fixed it," I realized who fixed it was a member from my second home, Mount Hebron Baptist Church. So thank you, all of you all wearing merchandise. Shouts out to Miss Barb out in Lakeview. She's doing great work in advocating for us out in the Lakeview area. And these are some of the testimonials that I'll share. One individual in Lakeview sent me the message and said, "I placed a campaign sign today in somebody's yard, and that person's yard was a Democrat, and I never thought would that I thought would never Democrat yard that I thought would never accept a sign from her because this person's obviously a Republican." And then actually she listened to me and told me to put your campaign sign in her yard, that she would love to meet you. This is what I call reconciliation. That people otherwise that would never talk and never like each other, that we're running such a good campaign that these two individuals can come together and can agree on a candidate and can say, "Put the sign in my yard." And then the other one is kind of, people say, "Well, what do some things that never show up in a vote," but this person says that you're an amazing person. I will always cherish the talk that we had at senior day. I didn't remember what we talked about, but I know that when you plant and when you water seeds, that it's God that provides the increase. That based on whatever we talked about, this person said that they were closer to God. And that now she's praying every day to become closer. There's one of many testimonials. And I think that's what we had for today's forum. I'm really grateful and thankful for everyone. A lot of people always ask me the question while we're here, where's the district for Tuscaloosa? It's all of Pickens, and then it's one part of Tuscaloosa County. And folks always ask the question, what's part of the district? And so we had to get these maps designed personally because there was no map that's tangible that we could share that had the district lines for Tuscaloosa County included. This isn't drawn to scale, but the polling locations are. So earlier I mentioned Hagler Community Center, all the way southeast part of Tuscaloosa County, and it goes all the way up to the central eastern part. That's McCalla, that's Lakeview, it's Tannehill Baptist Church. Goes all the way up to that corner, that eastern corner of the central part of Tuscaloosa County. And so I just wanted to share that because we always get the question on what's part of the district. So if you have questions, I'm more than happy to take to take whatever questions that you may have. I apologize for being a little longer. There was more information that we felt that we wanted to get out today. Um, there's we have some campaign related marketing that's coming up in September. We're excited for all of you all who have committed to stick with us and spend your time on November the 3rd to help us out with our campaign operations on election day. I'm grateful. We're not discouraged by 77,000 in Tuscaloosa County and 13,000 in Pickens County. We like we like what we see, and we feel that there will be more voters in this midterm than any midterm probably since the red wave with President Obama's second year in office. That's what that's what we feel. And we have no reservations about our chance, our opportunity to represent all, not just all of Tuscaloosa County, not just all of Pickens County, but to represent the state of Alabama. We're confident we have the energy to sustain through November the 3rd. If you can donate, I would ask that you do donate money. I talked to an elected official, and the elected official told me that campaigns run on two things. They run on money. Well, he said two, I say three: money, votes, and time. Those are the three things that you need to run a successful campaign. So if you can donate, I would encourage you to donate. If you aren't able to donate, I would encourage you to donate your time, and would love and be honored for your vote on November the 3rd. That's all that I have. I was waiting on questions. I don't see any. I love each and every one of you all. Our present in the community tour goes back to Aliceville again on Friday, this upcoming Friday, and then the next scheduled is September the 11th when PA plays HCA, and it's at Carrollton Diner, and I think it's from 3 to 6:30. We'll be pushing out the dates. Those aren't the only present in your community events. Trust me, we have events coming up in Tuscaloosa County, and our campaign isn't limited or exclusive to any location in Pickens and Tuscaloosa County. It's not restricted to congressional lines in Tuscaloosa County. It's not restricted to anywhere in Pickens County. So we'll be out. If there's anywhere that you would like for me to be at, message our campaign, and we would be happy to schedule an event or a home visit anywhere. I love all of y'all. We're at 1 hour. Thank you for sticking with us this long. If there are any additional questions at a later time, feel free to send us a message. Again, I love you all, and I look forward to seeing you all out on the campaign trail.